Welcome to this explainer. Right now, we are standing on the edge of a truly massive transformation. I'm talking about a sudden, profound shift from AI just being a simple chatbot, the kind that just spits out answers to your questions, to AI acting as an autonomous digital worker. An AI that actually sits down and does the job for you. Let's unpack what that really means.
Because, let's be honest, it leads to the one question everyone is asking right now. Will AI take your job? There's just this intense anxiety rippling through the labor market today. It doesn't matter if you're a recent grad desperately looking for that first big break, or a seasoned pro with a decade of experience under your belt. Almost everyone is feeling this looming pressure of automation breathing down their neck.
And it makes sense when you hear things like this quote from Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei. He warned that half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear, and unemployment could spike to 10 or 20%. I mean, wow. When the very people building this tech are issuing stark warnings like that, it is so easy to panic. But take a breath. Today, we're going to look past all the doomsday myths. We're going to dig into the hard economic data, the academic research, and the real-world products to see what is actually going on.
Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Meet the AI agents. 2. Workflows instead of tasks. 3. The white-collar exposure. 4. The doorman fallacy. And finally, 5. New jobs, new rules.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, Meet the AI agents.
So, to really grasp the economic fallout here, we have to look at the tangible tools hitting the market today. The absolute crucial point to understand is that AI has evolved way past just generating a block of text in your browser. We've officially entered the era of the agent. These systems are active partners now. They take actions, they monitor systems in the background, and they independently complete complex, multi-step tasks without needing you to constantly hold their hand.
Just look at the stark contrast between two major agents that recently launched. On one hand, you've got Google's Gemini Spark. Think of this as a cloud worker. It watches your inbox 24/7, integrates deeply into Google Workspace, and costs around $100 a month. Then on the flip side, we have Anthropic's Claude Cowork. This one runs locally right on your Mac or Windows desktop. It actually creates real Excel or PowerPoint files and starts at just $20 a month. They approach the work very differently, but both of them operate as fully autonomous workers.
Which brings us to Section 2, Workflows instead of tasks.
This shift from chatbots to agents completely demolishes our old assumptions about automation. Under the old model, AI just handled subtasks, right? It translated a paragraph, maybe wrote a little code snippet, but a human had to sit there and coordinate the whole project. Well, the new Agentic AI is a totally different beast. You give it a high-level goal, it invokes its own tools, checks its own work for errors, and just hands you a finished product. No human handoffs in the riddle. Zero.
Let's really cement this definition. Agentic AI is a system that receives a goal, autonomously selects its tools, maintains its memory across multiple steps, and finishes the job. And why is this such a big deal? Because if an AI can do 80% of a workflow end-to-end, a company's incentive isn't just to redeploy their human workers to do the remaining 20%. Nope. The real incentive is to eliminate that traditional role entirely and just staff a tiny exception-handling team to clean up the AI's mistakes. To actually measure this, researchers came up with a brand new metric. Take a look at the COVID term in this formula. That stands for the workflow coverage factor. It's a massive innovation because it actively penalizes tasks that still require complex human coordination, physical presence, or interpersonal crisis management.
All right, moving on to Section 3, the white-collar exposure.
So we have to ask, who is actually in the crosshairs of these new autonomous workflows? Enter ATE, or Agent Task Exposure. Now, this score isn't just some wild guess about what AI might theoretically do in a lab someday. It's a rigorous measure of what AI can complete autonomously, start to finish, inside a real corporate environment. It looks at the actual day-to-day tasks people do and measures the very real risk of displacement.
And wow, the data reveals something completely surprising here. The highest-risk jobs, they aren't routine data entry anymore. They are high-cognitive, digital-heavy roles. We're talking credit analysts, paralegals, even judges. They rank exceptionally high for exposure because their work is so heavily digital and bounded by strict rules. But on the flip side, jobs that demand a physical presence or unpredictable exception handling, those things act like a protective shield against automation.
But here's where it gets reassuring. When researchers categorize this risk into low, moderate, and high thresholds, a really critical takeaway emerges. Practically no occupation hits that catastrophic high threshold of 0.65 by 2030. Think about what that means. We aren't facing some massive overnight wipeout of jobs. Instead, we're looking at a gradual, moderate recomposition of how work actually gets done.
And keep in mind, this transition won't happen everywhere all at once. Adoption follows what we call a regional S-curve. So the San Francisco Bay Area, a Tier 1 region, is adopting this tech at a staggering pace. They're about 18 months ahead of Tier 3 regions like New York. However, remote work is actively compressing that geographic buffer, meaning if you work remotely from your couch in New York for a company based out in San Francisco, guess what? You are exposed to the San Francisco adoption timeline.
Let's pivot to Section 4, the doorman fallacy.
Now you might be wondering, if these agents are so incredibly capable, why are complete occupational wipeouts so rare? Well, it comes down to something the behavioral economist Rory Sutherland calls the doorman fallacy. It's the mistake of assuming that just because a doorman opens the door, opening the door is their entire job. Tech CEOs do this all the time. They look at white-collar work, see the most obvious task, and assume that's the whole gig.
But as we know, jobs are essentially bundles of skills. A doorman screens strangers, handles package deliveries, keeps order. In the exact same way, a junior financial analyst does way more than just assemble spreadsheets, right? They build relationships, they navigate tricky office politics, they hold crucial institutional knowledge. New AI tech might come in and eat the spreadsheet part of that bundle, but it consumes these bundles very, very unevenly.
In fact, recent data backs this up beautifully. A full 42% of executives report that implementing AI has actually expanded the analytical and judgment-based work required of their entry-level employees. AI is essentially just stripping away the routine, mundane formatting stuff and leaving behind the work that requires real, deep human insight and critical thinking.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, New Jobs, New Rules.
As these old tasks start falling away, we're witnessing a powerful reinstatement effect. Entirely new, highly paid roles are already popping up everywhere. We're talking AI workflow designers, clinical AI supervisors, AI compliance officers. And the amazing part, you don't need to be a software engineer to do this. They require deep domain expertise. The market doesn't necessarily want a coder, it wants a former paralegal who knows contract law inside and out, well enough to catch an AI agent the second it hallucinates a legal clause.
But this poses the ultimate corporate governance question. How exactly do you manage a digital worker? Because remember, we are no longer talking about a passive piece of software sitting on your desktop. We are talking about an independent actor operating on behalf of your company, directly interacting with your clients and handling your data.
This dilemma lands directly on the desks of corporate boards. They're suddenly facing critical operational responsibilities they never had to think about before. They have to decide exactly how much autonomy an AI gets. They have to ensure these agents are tuned to actually help customers and not just deflect them to save a quick buck. And crucially, they must actively avoid turning their human employees into mere mindless validators of machine output. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought regarding your own career trajectory in this new agentic economy. As the bundles of work shift and change, are you prepared to transition from being a doer of tasks to a manager of machines? It is a massive paradigm shift, absolutely, but for those willing to adapt, the opportunities are just incredible. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.